Welcome back to the Upside Sports Network. My name is Michael. Appreciate you guys joining us for yet another live stream as we watch the Texas Rangers take on the Baltimore Orioles for the second straight evening. Two crazy games in a row between the two teams in extra innings. Both times the Orioles getting the better of the Rangers in extras as the Rangers were unable to push across a run in the top of the 10th in either game. And unfortunately for the Rangers, the Orioles were able to finally get that runner across and win the game. Last night's player of the game was Cedric Mullins. He has been basically a thorn in the side of every team that he's played so far this year. Seems to really be rounding into form, though, over the last couple of weeks anyway. Yesterday's game was a little bit more than what you might expect from him, even considering how good of a player he's been. He was the all-star representative, of course, for the Baltimore Orioles. For the Rangers today, they start Glenn Otto. He, of course, just got off the COVID IL a few weeks ago, and ever since has struggled with his command. We'll see how he does today. Before the COVID stint, he was one of the best pitchers for the Rangers. And so kind of keep that in mind when you're watching the game today if Otto is able to return to form. Otto, of course, was one of the pieces that was brought back in the trade for Joey Gallo a couple of weeks, or last season anyway. And he was performed quite admirably for the Rangers last year when he was called up anyway. However, the Rangers were not a very good team last year. This year, they've invested heavily into the team. Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. That tandem, of course, scored the game-tying and go-ahead run in the top of the ninth anyway to at least give them the chance to win the game. And just unfortunately, it wasn't enough. The Rangers were not able to climb that mountain far enough. They've been teetering around 500 ever since the calendar turned to June and July. And over the past month or so, they've been a little bit under 500. The Rangers, of course, would really like to get back to 500, if not above that. However, even just getting to 500 would be a massive improvement from where this team was a year ago. A year ago, this team was 21 game under 500. Last year's where they finished. So even getting back to 500 would be one of the greatest achievements any team has done from one year to the next. Now, of course, it's all about winning the title, and nobody's crowning the Rangers champions just yet. But this is one great step in the right direction if they're able to finish at 500 or even above 500 as the season goes on. But thank you again for joining us. A lot of different news around the NBA and NFL today as well. We'll get into some of that as we watch the game together. Just kind of go through the lineups for today. The Rangers are going to start, as I mentioned, Glenn Otto. Josh Smith is not your leadoff hitter today. That is going to be Marcus Semien returning to that leadoff spot. He is going to be your second baseman. Corey Seager is your shortstop, hitting second, back to where he normally has been for the most part this year. Mitch Garver, where he opened the season as the three-hole hitter, is your designated hitter. He, of course, has not been able to play the field in a number of weeks, and he is going to need off-season elbow surgery. The question is whether or not they go ahead and shut him down. But the game-tying home run in the seventh for the Rangers last night shows you just how good his bat can be. And so the Rangers are hoping just to get a little bit more production out of it. Nathaniel Lowe slides into the 4 spot today. He's been on a tear as of late. 3-run homer to tie it in the 8th inning last night. Going against a lefty on lefty matchup did not work out in Baltimore's favor there. Jonah Heim is doing the catching, batting 5th. Cole Calhoun slides down to the 6th spot. Brad Miller slides into the 7th spot in left field. Leody Taveras is back into the starting lineup today. He is your center fielder. And Charlie Culberson is your third baseman, with Josh Smith taking a seat tonight. For the Orioles, they go with Watkins as your starter, a 4.61 earned run average. As I mentioned, Cedric Mullins is going to be your leadoff hitter, hitting 266. Don't let that average fool you, though. He is a dynamic player. Speed is a big part of his game as well, and he has a little bit of pop, as we saw last night. Trey Mancini is your first baseman, hitting second, 281 on the year. And Santander is your designated hitter, hitting third. He's at 238, but we saw he's more than willing to do what he has to do to get on base with a bunt hit yesterday. Hayes draws into the lineup today. He's your left fielder, hitting fourth. Rushman is your catcher today, hitting 5th, sliding down 1 spot. He was the guy who got the double off the wall in the Independence Day game against Joe Barlow, causing the blown save. Last night had a little bit more of a tough time, but he's their top prospect that they really needed to see some production out of, and so they're going to give him every chance to do so. Urias slides down 1 spot as well to the 6th spot. He is your third baseman today. Odor slides down as well to the 7. He is your second baseman. McKenna slides down again as well. He is your right fielder today. He played left yesterday. And, of course, Jorge Mateo is your shortstop, batting 9th. Just about set here. Watkins towing the rubber, 1-1 on the year, 4.61 earned run average in 41 innings, 23 strikeouts, 17 walks. The first pitch to Simeon, right on the outside corner at the knees. Strike one there. Camden Yards is one heck of a great looking ballpark. Looks like this is the 30th year for baseball there. Ground ball there by Simeon up the middle. This time Odor able to make the throw across in time. We saw in the ninth inning last night, Odor is on the left side of second base and was not able to get the throw across in time. This time he was able to get in a little bit quicker, get that little bit more pace on that toss over to first. Five pitch mix for Spencer Watkins. Four-seam fastball, cutter, slider, curveball, and a changeup. Slider is his strikeout pitch as Corey Seager steps into the box. Swing and a miss, a massive rip by Seager on that 91-mile-an-hour heater. Seager has made some changes to his swing this year, has tried to go for more power this year. Curveball at the top of the zone. Seager misses that one, kind of waves at that one and misses. Seager hitting .236 on the year, 16 home runs, 39 RBIs, a .733 OPS. Just a little bit high and outside there by Watkins, missed by about that much. 1-2 the count now. No Adolis Garcia in the lineup today for the Rangers. Looks like the slider there misses. Watkins unhappy with where that one finished. The 2-2 pitch. Right down the middle. Looks like a changeup on that one almost. Maybe a cutter. Fouls that one off by Seager. Taps it foul towards the Orioles' first base dugout. The 2-2 again. Grounds that one to first. Watkins able to get over and make the play. And there are two away. As I mentioned, there's been a few news and notes that we need to get to. Baker Mayfield, there's been a lot of rumors about what the Cleveland Browns were going to end up having to do with him. He had a fully guaranteed salary around $18 million or so, and the Browns just didn't want to have to pay that this year. It remains to be seen how much of the salary is going to be eaten, but he has been traded. He is going to the long-rumored Carolina Panthers. The surprising part is that Sam Darnold is not going the other way in that deal. You thought maybe they'd go after him. Garver on the first pitch bounces to Mateo into the shift, and he is retired. 9-pitch inning there for Watkins. And the Rangers go quietly in the first. But as I was mentioning, that trade is going to be for a conditional 2024 fifth-round pick, I believe. So not much compensation. They were not expected to get much compensation for him, as that $18 million price tag was quite hefty. There was rumors as well that maybe you could see a Jimmy Garropolo for Baker Mayfield swap evenly. That would allow the Browns to have a quality starting quarterback this year that could start in front of Jacoby Brissett, while you expected to have, anyway, Deshaun Watson suspended for the entire year. Meanwhile, the San Francisco 49ers would be able to have Baker Mayfield there as insurance, save a little bit of money, and possibly get a contract extension for Deebo Samuel and solve some of their problems long term. But instead, he does end up going to Carolina. He's probably going to be the starter there. We heard messaging out of Carolina that they wanted to have their starting quarterback in-house before training camp opened. This does get that done. I'm still curious how much money they're going to eat, though. I've yet to see any real numbers on it. A bunch of different guesses at it, but nobody with any real information on it. Looks like, okay, so here's a little bit of information anyway coming from CBS Sports, that they're going to trim $3.5 million off of his salary to be able to facilitate the trade to go to Carolina. If you remember in baseball terms anyway, that the trade that the Rangers had worked out for Alex Rodriguez for Manny Ramirez was ultimately nixed because Alex Rodriguez was sacrificing money on his guaranteed contract. So the players' union did not allow that trade to go through. That ultimately allowed Alex Rodriguez to be traded to the New York Yankees. I don't know too much about the NFL structure as far as trimming salary, but I do know this. Players take pay cuts all the time. I'd imagine that's how they're going to end up structuring this, because those contracts, when you agree to a pay cut, you are literally agreeing to it. That does not seem to be a problem with the players' union on the NFL side. This deal apparently has been in place for over a month, and they're just kind of working through the finances of it. I'm sure Cleveland was really hoping to get more out of them, but unfortunately, they were not. You'll remember just back when Baker Mayfield was initially requested a trade, they immediately said, "No, he's our starting quarterback." A week later, they make the massive trade for Deshaun Watson and leave Baker Mayfield high and dry. And then, of course, he requests a trade yet again, and they say, "No, we're hanging on to him. We still think very highly of you," because they weren't sure about how things would go with Deshaun Watson. And then, of course, basically they said, "Well, now that we've got Deshaun, we can't really count on you to not be a cancer in our locker room, so we want a first-round pick." Everybody laughed them out the door, and so now you see where the market has really gone for Baker Mayfield. Once thought of as a franchise quarterback, now a journeyman starter at this point in his career. We'll see if he's able to latch on with Carolina and be able to start there for more than 1 year. But as things stand, Glenn Otto has taken over on the mound, bottom of the first, 3-1, as he's fallen behind Cedric Mullins. Mullins pushes a bunt foul, and it's now 3-2. Mullins was absolutely dynamic last night, had the game-winning hit in the 10th inning. The 3-2 pitch by Otto. Fouled away there, 95-mile-an-hour fastball off the corner. They're still not fully claiming Mayfield is going to be the starter. You'll remember they were the top 2 picks in the draft a couple years ago. Mullins hits a foul ball just down the first base line, little tapered out to low. That ball twists foul just before crossing first base. But apparently they're going to have a little bit of a Darnold Mayfield competition, at least for the moment. We saw how things went last year with the Carolina Panthers with Cam Newton, Sam Darnold, P.J. Walker. Just really had no consistency at that quarterback spot, would name a starter and then pull him after the first couple of series. So kind of take that with a grain of salt with what you see from the outside as their quarterback situation. Otto misses low there and loses Mullins. Trey Mancini digs into the box. He also played very well last night. Otto's first pitch, a little number, fouled off by Mancini. Little excuse me swing, hits the bat. As I was mentioning this season, prior to his IL stint, 5 starts, a 3-1 record, 22 innings, only 6 earned runs allowed. His ERA was 2.46. Since then, in 2 starts after coming back from the COVID list, he's only had 2 starts and gone 6 innings. His ERA, 15. So maybe still suffering some of those ill effects of the illness that he had. 1-1 the count there as Otto misses badly with that curveball. One thing the Rangers have preached to their pitchers this year is avoiding the walk. Pickoff attempt by Mullins. Mullins is easily back in there safe. Avoiding walks, that kind of thing has really been the key for the Rangers pitching staff. If you can't keep runners off base by the walk anyway, by avoiding the walk, you will probably be sent down and not be called upon in tough situations. Nice stop there by Culberson. Flips on to second. Wild throw on to first. Might have been just a hair late, but he's called safe at the moment. I don't know if Semien just wasn't able to get enough on it. Looked like a very awkward toss over to first. He did get some strength on it, though. Culberson makes a nice diving stop to his left, whips it on to Semien. That was it. Looking at the replay anyway, Semien literally just picked it out of his glove and kind of flipped it with his wrist all the way to first base with that much mustard on it. Looking at the replay, ooh, it's almost a bang-bang play. I don't know if the Rangers are going to review that. It was close. In either event, Santander digs in with one away here in the first. Glenn Otto trying to work around a leadoff walk. Fielder's choice there. Santander with 15 home runs on the year, 41 RBIs, hitting .238 on the year with an OPS of .751. Otto again struggling to find the strike zone. We saw how that worked out for the Rangers yesterday with Spencer Howard. Howard was unable to get through 4 innings, or unable to get through 5. He was pulled after 4. The pitch, good pitch right at the knees there, 1-1. You can't expect perfection on every single pitch, but you can certainly expect effort, consistency in delivery, those kinds of things. When you start noticing the delivery coming in different, that's when you need to focus on your pitching or your pitcher and see what's going on with that. Are his emotions getting the better of him? Last night, Dennis Santana worked at 2 straight outs, made an impressive play on a chopper over the top of the mound, kind of whirled around, grabbed the ball out of mid-air, whirled around and threw it onto first base, kind of winded himself a little bit. They had to review it at first base. He was ultimately determined to be out. And so when Santana went back to the mound, he was still a little gassed, and then he started overthrowing the ball. And he just was unable to establish that fastball again. Santander hammers one down the first base line into the screen, foul. 2-2. But Santana was overthrowing last night. He may be called upon tonight to see if he can shake those Cowboys off. The one guy I'm not sure if they will use tonight is Joe Barlow. Back-to-back blown saves. I don't know if they'll call him for a 3rd straight night after struggling the previous 2. Maybe a save situation goes to a guy like Brett Martin, something like that. Give it to Jose Leclerc, who has experience getting that final out in a game. Before Tommy John, Jose Leclerc was the closer for the Rangers. He, of course, has only pitched a few games in the majors since coming back from that injury. You don't necessarily want to put him in, the World Series Game 7 with 2 outs, bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th right now. But maybe in a game in early July, something like that might be a little easier pace for him to get adjusted to that role again if the Rangers decide to make a move with Joe Barlow. Before Barlow was the closer last year, Ian Kennedy was the closer before they traded him to Philadelphia. He stepped up and took over that position. Santander on the ground to Semien, on to Seager, to Lowe, and the double play. Otto ends up getting the 1-2-3 inning he was hoping for. No runs, no hits for the Rangers. Same for the Orioles, and we go on to the second. But as I was mentioning, there's a number of different storylines out there right now. Of course, the most pervasive storyline in all of sports, of course, is what's going to happen with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant requested a trade directly to ownership of the Brooklyn Nets, and apparently he, his agent, and the entire front office of the Brooklyn Nets are scouring for the best trade that they could possibly get. Shams Charania of Yahoo Sports said that a deal for Kevin Durant is likely to be expected within the next week and a half. Today, anyway, there was rumors out there that James Harden would ultimately agree to a new contract with the Philadelphia 76ers. Yet to see any news on that front, but as of right now, it's fully expected for him to go back there anyway. Kyrie Irving is expected to be traded as well by the Nets once Kevin Durant is out. The moves are likely going to be independent of each other as they try to maximize the value of Kevin Durant and get the best that they possibly can for him. The one piece that I'm making a video on right now is the Donovan Mitchell piece. I fully expect after the trade of Rudy Gobert that once Kevin Durant trade is done, he is going to make a trade request. That way that the Utah Jazz can capitalize on his value, and a number of teams are expected to be interested in his services, no more so than the New York Knicks, the Miami Heat, and the New Orleans Pelicans. The loser of the Kevin Durant sweepstakes is obviously going to be interested in Donovan Mitchell as well, so we'll see what happens there. The Phoenix Suns have a number of different trade assets that they can use, but getting a guy like Donovan Mitchell to go with Devin Booker and CP3 might be a little bit cumbersome from a payroll perspective, as you're paying 3 guards over $40 million a year. So I don't really see that as a viable alternative for Donovan Mitchell. But keep your eyes peeled for what happens there. Number of executives around the league have been reporting to a number of different quoted to a number of different national reporters that they're going to it would be highly unlikely for Donovan Mitchell, after all that's happened in Utah, for him to not request a trade. His best friend on the team is traded to the Brooklyn Nets for a first-round pick. The second star on the Utah Jazz is traded to Minnesota. That doesn't make your team better this year. Nathaniel Lowe hammers one down the first base line. Fair ball, goes into the corner. Lowe hustling around first, goes to second. Hard throw into second, and he is safe. The ball gets past. Mateo and Odor, neither one of them was going after that ball. They kind of look at each other and say, I thought you had it. Nathaniel Lowe, just nice piece of hitting there, right down the line. Hard hit ground ball, literally right over the bag. Good effort there by Hayes to try to make a solid throw, but nobody was there to back up the throw. The right fielder ultimately ended up catching it in short right field behind first base. So Lowe did not get up and move on to third. So a 3-run home run last night to tie it in the 8th. And first hit today is a leadoff double here in the 2nd. Jonah Heim absolutely crushes that ball high in the air. Long run over. And McKenna is not going to be able to get there. That ball is a good 10 rows back down the right field line. Heim this year, 258 average, 12 home runs, 800 OPS. He's been a godsend to this Rangers lineup that's been devoid of catching or of major power potential back there for a couple of years now. They did trade away Jose Trevino just before the season started. This one down the left field line by Heim, foul, and it's 0-2. Opposite field hits. Nathaniel Lowe has now crept up to third in all of Major League Baseball. He's up to 31. Freddie Freeman leads the league with 37. Miguel Cabrera still doing it at his advanced age with 33. And Nathaniel Lowe right there. Excuse me, swing there. Makes contact with the ball. Foul ball. Still 0-2. Rangers hoping to avoid a 4-0 deficit after 4 this time. Looking to strike first. Off speed up and in. Heim able to foul that one off. More able to fight that one off more than anything else off the handle. Straight back to the screen. Still 0-2. The Rangers since June 15th have a .293 average with runners in scoring position. That's good for third best in all of baseball. Heim a big part of that. That power potential has really shown the last few weeks. Rolls this one over to Odor. That will get the runner over to third. Productive out there by Heim. As now Lowe is 90 feet away with less than 2 outs. Any fly ball likely scores him. Rangers looking to strike first here. Cole Calhoun digs in, hitting .232 this year. He's been granted a lot of playing time this year, as the Rangers don't really have a lot of top outfield prospects ready to take over. He signed a 2-year, $10 million deal this offseason with Texas, as did Brad Miller. 75-mile-an-hour curveball up and away, misses the zone, and it's 1-0. Calhoun on the year has 10 home runs, 36 RBIs, OPS of 692. The pitch, another fastball up and away, and it's now 2-0. The Rangers this year score 61% of the time when the runner's on third base with less than 2 outs. That's by far the highest in all of Major League Baseball. We'll see if they're able to convert here. Looks like a little bit of a cutter there. Calhoun fouls that one back to the screen, and it's now 2-1. Rangers looking to avoid the sweep today against the Orioles after 2 heartbreaking losses on Independence Day and last night. 2 blown saves by Joe Barlow in both games. Matt Moore unable to slam the door in the 10th of both of those as well. Check swing there, but he went around. That probably was a strike anyway, though, and it's 2-2. Cole Calhoun, of course, spent much of his career with the LA Angels of Anaheim. So the Rangers brass, of course, very familiar with his accolades, how talented he has been, how productive he has been. Spent the last couple of years in the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. That one's a curveball just off the end of the bat, rolled over to Odor. That is not going to get the job done and get Lowe home, though, as Lowe is not the fastest first baseman in all of baseball, but he does have some speed. That ball, though, could have been cut off by the pitcher, so Lowe had to hold up, and he wasn't going to be able to get that done. 2 away now as Watkins looking to avoid or to work his way around a leadoff double by Lowe. And Brad Miller digs in. 215 hitter this year for Brad Miller. Did have an RBI single last night. Fastball there, up and away, strike 1, right on the top of the zone on the outside corner. 7 home runs, 27 RBIs, a 623 OPS for Brad Miller. Watkins set and the pitch. Curveball inside, fouled off down the first base line. A little grounder. And it's 0-2. Watkins 1 strike away from working around a leadoff double. Miller back in the box. No batting gloves. A little bit of a rarity nowadays with that wood bat. Climbs the strike zone there a little bit too high, misses the top of the zone by about 3 or 4 inches, and it's now 1-2. Trying to entice a swing there. A lot of afternoon baseball. We'll go through some of those scores here should the inning end here. Curveball inside, misses by about 3 or 4 inches. Miller able to lay off, and it's 2-2. Appreciate you guys joining us on a Wednesday evening. It's been a crazy series between the Rangers and Orioles. Late inning madness in both games. 2 blown saves by the Rangers. And that's a nice pitch there by Watkins. Dives below the zone, and Miller unable to make contact there. Watkins does work around a leadoff double there by Nathaniel Lowe. No runs, 1 hit, no errors for the Rangers. No runs, no hits, no errors for the Orioles so far today. Some news out of the NBA. Apparently, Kevin Durant has gone dark to all NBA stars. I'm sure that tampering is not really relevant right now with Kevin Durant, as he's already said he wants out, as he's looking to work a trade out with his with the management staff there in Brooklyn. Sounds like he's going to leave it up to his agent to field those type of calls as he tries to move to a different location. The Brooklyn Nets, of course, would take his request to go to one of the 2 or 3 teams he prefers under advisement, but the Nets are going to look out for themselves first. They invested so much in KD and Kyrie and James Harden, and they are very much so within their rights to get the best deal that they can, even if that deal comes from a team that's going to have a losing record, even with a Kevin Durant. Sorry, Kevin Durant, you don't always get what you want. And yes, I know that's a song. But just kind of some of your headlines. We already talked about the Baker Mayfield move by the Browns, trading him to the Panthers for a conditional 5th-round pick. Mayfield agreed to take off $3.5 million of his salary, makes things a little bit more palatable for the Panthers to give up that 5th-round pick. Panthers looking for some consistency at that quarterback spot after having nothing but inconsistent performance from Sam Darnold, Cam Newton, P.J. Walker, pretty much anybody they started at that quarterback spot or even had play it down. It was not a good season for the Carolina Panthers offensively. Second straight year they've struggled with the quarterback position. Matt Rule got a really long deal, or a coach that's never coached in the NFL. He signed a 7-year deal after coaching the Baylor Bears football team anyway. And the 7-year deal that he got with the Carolina Panthers, he remade that defense, invested a lot of draft picks on that side of the ball, and now he needs to solve that quarterback position. This year and next year, it's all about that quarterback position for Carolina. So look for them to be involved in a lot of quarterback discussion, trade talk. This draft, anyway, did not have a top prospect in there, so the Panthers did not invest their top draft pick in a quarterback this year. Otto pours in strike one there to Hayes. Looks like he's hopefully got a little bit better command this half inning. Nice curveball there. That was beautiful. That might even be called a slider there. That one more broke east to west anyway. 0-2 now as that 82-mile-an-hour finished outside the zone, but was able to entice a hearty hack from Hayes. Otto set and delivers. Another one even further outside of the zone. This time Hayes able to lay off, and it's 1-2. And yes, it's a Dallas Stars mug. If you don't know who the Dallas Stars are, give me a phone and I'll tell you all about them. I cover all teams from all 4 of the major leagues around us anyway. Football, basketball, hockey, and baseball. Nice strikeout there by Otto. Another curveball or slider anyway. Just fell off the table and Hayes could not resist. Otto seems to be a little bit sharper this half inning. Rutschman is up there. He's your catcher today. Chirinos got the start at catcher yesterday. Swing and a miss. Very late on that one. Otto able to push the 94-mile-an-hour fastball by him. Rutschman does have 3 home runs this year, 10 RBIs, 660 OPS. However, that average is a little bit troubling, only 209. Otto. Okay. Misses by about 2 inches with a curveball, and yet Heim was not able to make the catch. Looks like it bounced off the top of his glove and went to the backstop. Nobody on base, though. No harm, no foul anyway. Other news around the sporting world. Looks like the NFL is looking for a speedy resolution in the Deshaun Watson case. They want a lengthy suspension, and they're apparently negotiating with Deshaun Watson as well to avoid having an appeal to get this out of the headlines. It is ugly for the NFL for this story to continue to keep going, but it's an ugly thing that's been going on with Deshaun Watson. Sorry. And then, of course, the Cleveland Browns compounded that problem by giving him a 5-year, $230 million guaranteed deal, or almost fully guaranteed deal. Just absolute yuck. Deshaun Watson was able to solve 20 of the civil lawsuits against him. Still has a few outstanding, but those are expected to be resolved as well. The Houston Texans, the same people who were suing Deshaun Watson and civilly anyway, they have since turned around their lawsuit and gone after the Houston Texans One has to imagine the NFL will eventually be handed a lawsuit as well, saying that they enabled the behavior of Deshaun Watson. Be interesting to see how that case ends up playing out. But as far as on the field, Deshaun Watson is likely to miss the entire year. Jacoby Brissett at the moment is your starter week 1 for the Cleveland Browns. It's going to be a heavy running offense this year. So kind of if you're a fantasy football player, keep that in mind when your fantasy drafts this year, as they're not going to have Deshaun Watson likely for the entire year. Ball 4 there is Otto walks Rushman there. Urias is up, takes a ball inside. Otto has lost a little bit of that sharpness after that first strikeout of Hayes. Ramon Urias, a 229 hitter, 6 home runs, 20 RBIs, and a 664 OPS. Right on the outside corner. Great pitch there by Otto, 1-1. Other news from around the NFL, Rob Gronkowski intends to retire, has announced his retirement again. We'll see if that ends up being the case as training camp nears. I'm sure Brady will grab him by the collar and say, hey, one more year, big fella. If I'm going, you're going. So we'll see if that happens. I know a lot of you guys out there are sick and tired of seeing Tom Brady in the Super Bowl every other year. But as effective as he is, you got to hand it to him. He's not just a game manager quarterback like he was when he first came up. He has since become the greatest quarterback, not arguably, but ever to play the game. Sorry, Joe Montana, that's no longer an argument anymore. 3-1 now as Otto has fallen behind. Orioles looking to get something going here in the bottom of the second. That's ball 4. Otto loses another one. That's 3 walks now, I believe, in the game so far. And that'll bring out a visit by Doug Mathis, Rangers pitching coach. Just has not been able to find the zone for the second straight start by a Rangers starter. Location is the problem. You can fully expect the Rangers to go out and acquire starting pitching either at the deadline or in the offseason this year. They have a number of young starters that are proven to be really good in short bursts. We've seen out of the bullpen, Brock Burke has really taken over that long reliever role and has been one of the best pitchers in all of baseball this year. Leads all rookies in ERA. They've got a number of long relief options out there. In the minors, they're turning one of their starters from earlier this year, Taylor Hearn, into a long reliever. He is expected to be back on the big club here in the next month or two. The Rangers just recalled Colby Allard, another pitcher who was once a starter, now a long reliever. But they haven't really gotten anybody to give them a full 5 innings, 6 innings guy. Their only developed guy so far has been Dane Dunning. They acquired him in the Lance Lynn trade. The surprise of the season so far for the Rangers, of course, is Martin Perez. He will definitely be the Rangers representative in the All-Star game. If there's another player to go, maybe it's a guy like a Brock Burke or a Corey Seager who leads the all of baseball for shortstops anyway with home runs. Maybe it's a guy like Jonah Heim. Alejandro Kirk is definitely going to be the starter at catcher in the American League in the All-Star game, but maybe it's Jose Trevino and Jonah Heim possibly doing the backup catching for him. The former Ranger and the Ranger being on the same All-Star team, that'd be very interesting. Odor fouls that one off, and it's 1-2. Orioles so far this series are 8 for 26 with runners in scoring position. Odor Odor looking to cause more damage this series to the Rangers. Went 3 for 5 in the opener. Had the game-tying home run in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs last night. And I don't know where that pitch was going. That pitch literally bounced off the thigh of the umpire and bounced all the way over to the first base dugout of the Orioles. Runners will advance to second and third. Heim, I don't know what you were doing not blocking that ball. Of course, he was set up well outside, and that ball went all the way across the plate and almost hit Odor. I mean, he missed his target by about 4 feet, but Heim, he's still got to get in front of it. Not getting in front of it cost a base to both runners. 2-2 now the count. That'll go as a wild pitch, I'm sure. Time requested by Odor. 36 pitches already through an inning and a third for the Rangers starter, Glenn Otto. Infielders are drawn in. They are in the overshift. 3 infielders on the right side for Odor, who has rolled over a number of pitches in the past, hence the need for the shift. Pops it straight up in the air over home plate. Heim gives way. Oh, no. Oh, my. Jonah Heim gave way to Nathaniel Lowe. It was on the first base side of the pitching of home plate anyway. And Charlie Culberson coming in from third, banged shoulders with Nathaniel Lowe. Both were looking straight up in the air. Not really sure who was calling it. Looks like maybe both were. But looking at the replay, yeah, both were calling for it, but Lowe was there. As long as one of them gets it, I suppose. Whatever gets the job done. And with that, they're 2 away. McKenna up, who gave them an 8-7 lead last night with a go-ahead leadoff home run in the 8th. That was his first home run of the year last night. His average at 253, that homer that I mentioned, 5 RBIs, an OPS of 669. Otto hoping to get out of this inning with no damage done. Otto steps off. That's a ball in the dirt, 1-1. A nice block there by Heim. Some more news out of the NFL. The Atlanta Falcons have signed defensive tackle Eddie Goldman. Had one of the Bears' defensive tackles, was a first-round pick a few years back. McKenna fouls that one down the third base line. Excuse me, it was a second-round pick in 2015. Ex-GM for the Bears, Ryan Pace, is a staff member now for the Atlanta Falcons. So there is a voice in the room for Goldman. Injury issues have hindered him over the last few years. The Bears, of course, have gotten rid of the majority of those aging veterans on that defensive front. Goldman, though, has only been in the league for 6 years. A little tapper to short. Seager, bare hands onto first. And it goes into the camera well. 2 runs will score. I mean, I get it. It's a bang-bang play. McKenna is a speedy runner. I mean, the bare hand was good. The throw was not. I mean, it's a slow bouncer. I mean, as far back as Seager was playing on that one, I imagine if he was playing any closer. Oh, I see why. McKenna would have been safe anyway at first base. That's not a question. But it was a wide throw to first. It looks like when he grabbed the ball, He grabbed it in between these two fingers and had these around it, so that kind of forced him to kind of shot put his sidearm to first, and it kind of missed the target. Mateo tries to lay down a bunt for a hit there. Goes foul, and it's 0-1. As it stands right now, though, the Rangers are already down 2-0. 2 walks in the inning have both come around to score, and then the error there, it's going to go down as a hit and an error to Corey Seager. Beautiful pitch by Otto, just misses off the outside corner. Does not entice the swing, though, of Mateo. Mateo's shown a lot of patience so far in his at-bats over these last couple of games against the Rangers. Maybe that bat is finally starting to come around for him. Mateo fouls that one right back to the screen. Had a pitch to hit out over the plate. Unable to keep it between the lines. Otto 1 strike away from getting out of it with only 2 runs across. Due up in the next half inning, Leody Taveras, Charlie Culberson, and the lineup flips back around to Marcus Semien. The pitch, fouled off again by Mateo. That one's in the dirt in the other batter's box, and it's now 2-2. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error for the Rangers so far today. 2 runs, 1 hit, no errors for the Orioles. Otto up to 46 pitches now. After using the bullpen extensively last night, we'll see how the Rangers go about tonight if Otto is unable to go through 5 or 6 today. He's almost up to 50 pitches already through 2 innings. That's another ball. This one just off the inside corner. It's now 3-2. With 2 outs, runners will be moving. And there's a strike 3 right on the inside corner. Mateo caught looking there. Very nice pitch by Glenn Otto to be able to get out of it. And that's the 3rd out of the inning. 2 runs do score, though, off of the 2 walks given up by Otto. They come around on the error by Corey Seager. 1 run will likely go as earned, the other one not. As I believe McKenna would have beat it out to first anyway, and that's the way it looks like it's being scored at the moment. Three walks through 2 innings. That is not what the doctor ordered for the Rangers. As I mentioned, the Rangers are absolutely against giving up the walk. They're more than willing to let you die by having the ball in the zone and force them to make a hit, but giving up free base is something they will not stand for from their young pitchers. We'll see how much longer they give Otto to go in this game. But as I mentioned, let's kind of circle around the league. Cincinnati Reds are on top of the Mets 2-1. Marlins on top of the Angels 1-0. Bottom of the 3rd, Phillies 0, Nationals 0. Tampa Bay Rays 1, Boston 0. Early on in the 2nd inning, the Atlanta Braves still tied at 0-0 against the St. Louis Cardinals. And as I mentioned, a number of games have already gone final today. The Blue Jays beat the Oakland Athletics 2-1. Cubs beat the Brewers 2-1 as well. In 10 innings, the Twins fall 8-9 against the White Sox. Then the Detroit Tigers handle their business against the Guardians 8-2. Their offense has kind of come on the last couple of days. Watkins comes out for his 3rd inning of work. 26 pitches so far through 2. Leody Taveras did have that single last night in the 10th inning. Just was not able to get it deep enough anyway to get the run home. The Rangers, unfortunately, were unable to get the run home after him either. And that really cost the Rangers as far as strategy in that 10th inning. Oh and 1 the count to Tavares. 260 hitter, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 688 average. Another strike right on the outside corner. Tavares taking all the way. At the top of the zone, Tavares able to lash that one foul. And it's 0-2. Right at the bottom of the zone, they were looking to go up high, and Watkins missed his spot. Tavares was not ready for that one. Called strike 3 there to Tavares. 1 away here in the top of the 3rd. Rangers offense, of course, did not get started last night until the 5th inning. Rangers hoping to get started a little earlier this time around and maybe not work from behind so much. Culberson is up there for his first at-bat of the day. 254 hitter. That ball bounces in the dirt. Ball 1. Nice curveball there by Watkins. Looked like it was going to be higher than it was. Dropped down in there for a strike. Culberson unable to make contact. No home runs this year for Culberson. 7 RBIs, a 564 OPS. A good bench piece, willing to come in there and get the start against usually lefties. Josh Smith, of course, with the day off today. Don't really understand the reasoning why they have Culberson in there. Maybe Smith has a little bit of a tweak that he's dealing with. We'll have to see from the Rangers beat writers. Culberson pops up that 3-2 pitch. Mateo out into short left field, waves off the left fielder to medium left field, honestly. Makes the catch, and 2 away. Marcus Semien digs back in for his second opportunity of the day. First 2 games of this series, both Semien and Mullins. They do a side-by-side comparison here. 5 for 9 with a home run. Mullins, though, the difference, 5 RBIs versus 2 for Semien, and both have scored 3 runs. Hammered right to the third baseman by Semien, on to first. Good strong throw there by Urias, and Semien is retired. Quick work for Watkins that half inning. Rangers go quietly. It's no runs, 1 hit, 1 error for the Rangers. 2 runs, no hits, no errors for the Orioles. Looks like the TV broadcast anyway had no hits for the Orioles. McKenna did have that 1 hit as he was able to leg it out. News and notes from around the league. Last night I put up a video about the Thomas Bryant contract with the LA Lakers. Check that out on our YouTube page. He signed a 1-year minimum deal after being promised an opportunity to open the season as the starter next to Anthony Davis. Now, that may not mean he's the starter the entire season, but he will get the first crack at that starting spot. I was really expecting him to go to one of the other contenders out there because they still had more money out there to spend, namely the Toronto Raptors, Boston Celtics, teams like that, both of which could have used his physicality. But Thomas Bryant instead decides to go to play for the Lakers, where he started his career after being drafted there by Pelinka anyway. The Bradley Beal contract has a no trade clause in it, so of course he will have final say on where he goes if he should decide to get a trade. Pelicans make official the Zion Williamson 5-year maximum contract extension. Tell me this, if you had started 85 games out of possible 246, would that mean you're one of the best players or best people in your profession? I don't know about that. Otto back out there. First pitch swinging there on the knuckle curve by Otto. And Mullins flies out to left. Good catch there by Miller. And there's one away. But Zion's only started 85 games in his career, missed all of last season, didn't play a single game, even though he was seen before games during the season and in the postseason doing acrobatic dunks, whether that was on his own volition or the team was just holding him back because they weren't going to make the playoffs, and then ultimately did, and then still didn't bring him back. That's on them. I'm still wondering what their plan is for Zion going forward. He just hasn't been able to remain healthy, so we'll see what ends up happening there. Suns make official the trade for Jock Landale, the other piece that came along with DeJounte Murray to the Atlanta Hawks. Glenn Otto quickly ahead of Trey Mancini, 0-2. As Mancini fouls that last four-seam fastball down the middle off. Straight back to the screen there by Mancini. John King, who gave up that go-ahead home run to McKenna in the eighth and then worked around a bases-loaded one-out jam in the eighth yesterday, was optioned to AAA today, and was the reciprocal move for bringing up Colby Allard, as they may need some length out of that bullpen after using it so much over the last few days. King did not have great command last night, walked a bunch. That's what really caused his bases loaded drama. Another foul tap by Mancini. Otto set, and the pitch. Well outside. 1-2 is the count. To Oriole fan favorite Trey Mancini. Plenty of rumors over the last couple of years of whether or not they trade Mullins or trade Mancini. Maybe they get some pieces back for him now. That pitch is very high, not competitive there by Otto, and it goes to 2-2. Remember the MLB trade deadline is coming up in a few weeks. All-Star game is also right around the corner. That pitch bounces in the other batter's box. It's now 3-2. A little bit of an overthrow there by Glenn Otto. The pitch, right down the middle. Mancini unable to catch up with that 93-mile-an-hour fastball, and that's 2 away. Good start here to the third inning. See if Otto can put together his first 1, 2, 3 in order inning anyway. The first, he only faced 3 batters, but the double play helping erase a leadoff walk. Santander digs in. Swing and a foul ball down the first base line. Grounded past the Orioles dugout. Santander, the leader on the team for the Orioles with 15 home runs. Falls behind here to Otto. The pitch. On the outside corner, this one he's able to keep between the lines. Simeon up with it. Flips on to first as Santander is out by a mile. Due up first for the Rangers, Corey Seager in the next half inning. We'll see if he can make up for that error that he had in the last half. That go-ahead 2-run home run in the ninth last night, at the time, looked like the game-winning hit. Unfortunately, of course, the blown save by Barlow, the inability to push across a run in the 10th, and then just a tough ninth and 10th inning for the Rangers anyway. Cedric Mullins, the hero last night. Game-winning hit, 3 for 4. But thank you guys again for joining us for another one of our live streams. Going to try to do at least a few of these every single week. I think this is our third one now already this week anyway. Third or fourth anyway. Try to watch a lot of baseball with you right now as the other 3 leagues are in their off season. NHL free agency starts on the 13th. As I mentioned in the other lives, that NHL free agency is very different than other sports as they try to get most of their transactions, if not almost every single one of them, done on that day. The transaction day starts really early in the morning. Canadian coverage and U.S. coverage is now exemplary. We'll see if TNT even has coverage during the free agency fever anyway. But it's not going to be like the NBA free agency fever where it's one news article after another news article, moratorium period, and all that. No, during the hockey free agents anyway, they sign the player, and usually about 20, 30 minutes later, he's on national media taking interviews. It's a different kind of experience anyway as far as free agency is concerned. I think other sports could use that as a model and kind of see how things go. But it's very entertaining, very made for TV, if you will, the way they handle it. Looks like we're back for the top of the fourth anyway. Grounds crew done with their work out there as they hustle off the field. Watkins, for once, misses his spot on that one. So far, Watkins' command has been spot on. That one, Seager hammers up the middle. Odor does a leaping throw onto first and just gets Corey Seager. He was able to flag that ball down as he was ranging to his left, or excuse me, to his right, away from first base in the outfield grass. Able to flip it onto first, and a great play there by Rougned Odor, robbing the Rangers shortstop of a base hit. Another hard hit ball by Seager. He's having a fantastic series, Rougned Odor is. Mitch Garver up there. 0 for 1 so far. That pitch right at the knees. Strike one. Hope you guys had a good 4th of July weekend. Got to spend some time doing whatever you wanted to do and enjoy that independence and freedom, those liberties that you have. On this road trip, Mitch Garver, 320 average, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, and over 1,000 OPS after that home run last night. Good hit there by Garver. Flies out to left, though, as trying to remember, Hayes ranges over there in left. They're quickly 2 away. Watkins only at 40 pitches now through the top of the 4th. Nathaniel Lowe, the one hit for the Rangers so far today, a leadoff double in the 2nd. Trying to get things going here for the Rangers bats. Most of the Rangers runs were scored after 2 outs were on the board last night. Rangers hoping for some success similar to that here. Watkins set and the pitch. Inside corner fastball right at the belt for Nathaniel Lowe, fouled back into the seats. Over his last 25 games, I've mentioned that he's kind of carrying the Rangers offense. This is what you need to know. A 330 average over 25 games. Might be the best 25-game stretch over his career. That ball off the pitcher's glove. Mateo trying to get it off after the carom and is unable to do so. That'll likely go as a base hit. Can't really expect the pitcher to get the glove down in time, even though it looks like he had the glove there. He just couldn't get it in front of the ball all the way and make the play. Darkness descending on the field in Baltimore. Low on first. Heim is up there looking to do a little bit of damage here. Last year he was really selling out for the home run. This year, been able to look or pick his pitch a little bit easier this year, and the proof is in the pudding. Another foul ball back behind home plate, off on the third base side, and it's 0-1 to Jonah Heim. Rangers made the decision to go without Jose Trevino this year. They had the option to go ahead and send him down, but said, hey, we're good. We want you to go ahead and stay in the majors and do right by you. And so they sent him on to the Yankees. If they'd known this offense was in him, of course, they probably would not have traded him, but he's definitely having a career year, not even just for the majors, but for minors as well. There was never anything like this in the minors to expect this kind of performance from Trevino. That pitch off the outside corner, Heim drives it to center, almost to the track, but Mullins is there, and that's the third out of the inning. Quick work again by Watkins. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error for the Rangers. 2 runs, 1 hit, no errors for the Orioles. And we move to the bottom of the 4th. Appreciate you guys joining us over the past few days for these live streams. Really means a lot growing our community the way we have. If you're at work, unable to watch the game, or if you're in an out-of-market team, you don't have MLB TV to be able to watch, glad we're able to bring you baseball from all around the league anyway. Went ahead and got the MLB.TV package. That way I could do a lot of different live streams from a lot of different teams. The Rangers and Orioles series has been by far the most entertaining one over the last couple of days. A couple of news and notes from around the league anyway. Mets activated Max Scherzer last night, designated reliever Chase Shreve. Shreve may get claimed by other teams. That Mets bullpen has been much better this year. News as far as the MLB trade deadline is concerned, 2 pitchers that are expected to be on the move this deadline. Frankie Montas is going to miss his next start with shoulder inflammation, and Tyler Mahle is also on the injured list with a shoulder strain. The Pittsburgh Pirates are getting lots of interest in starter Jose Quintana. He's really rebounded his career after having difficulties last year with the Cubs organization. Austin Barnes, the catcher with the LA Dodgers, agreed on a 2-year extension a few days ago. Veteran relief pitcher Sergio Romo has been signed by the Blue Jays. Glenn Otto back out there for the bottom of the 4th. 1-0 now the count on Austin Hayes. Hayes does have 11 home runs on the year. That pitch down and in below the knee. Otto set. And the pitch. That's a strike right on the outside for 1-1. That one falls well below the zone, and it's now 2-1 on the Orioles cleanup hitter. Earlier, the past week or so, anyway, we finally did have a trade, MLB level trade anyway, that the Royals traded away first baseman Carlos Santana to the Seattle Mariners in order to promote their number 3 prospect in the organization, number 97 in all of baseball. Another ball there as Otto falls behind 3-1. Vinny Pasquantino, you can look back and watch our live stream of that. We watched Pasquantino's first games up in the majors on Independence Weekend. Hayes looking to cause some damage here for the Orioles and extend that lead. Pops that one straight up over first base. Lowe has to make a couple of steps back and makes the catch. And that's the first out of the inning. News from the Summer League anyway, a lot of first-round picks and second-round picks, undrafted free agents in NBA Summer League right now. And one surprising face there right now for the Nuggets anyway is Jamal Murray, the point guard who's injured all of last year for the Denver Nuggets, took part in scrimmages and practices with the team, bringing up the young guys, trying to show some leadership, that kind of thing. But this is really good news for Nuggets fans, as they missed a lot of time last year with those injuries. Just having him back on the court means everything for that organization. With back-to-back MVP Nikola Jokic looking to get out of the first round this year, he just signed a max extension, the richest in basketball history, 5 years, $270 million contract. Coach Mike Malone for the Nuggets anyway said that's the most serious five-play Murray has faced since his injury. Auto set and the pitch to Rushman. That pitch laced into left field, falls in front of Brad Miller. I don't know. Looks like he may have had a play on that one, but he pulled up and was willing to let the ball fall in. I think if he had dove for it and taken a full steam ahead approach to it, he probably could have gotten there and made the play. Instead, now there's a runner on first, running away with the ball there. Serves that one into left. And Urias is up for a walk in the first, in his first at bat anyway. Already up to 67 pitches now. Play ball here would work wonders for him. Swing and a miss. A nice curveball there, kind of a 12-6 curveball. Dropped right in there. Last night was the first multi-hit game in over a month for Ramon Urias. As I mentioned, the last two games have been absolutely crazy for the Rangers and Orioles. That's why we chose them to do the game again tonight. Hoping to see some more late-inning heroics by both teams. Nice curveball there, drops into the zone again, and it's now 0-2. I mentioned Tampa Bay had crept out to a 1-0 lead against Boston. Well, now that lead is 4-0 in the third. Braves and Cardinals still tied at 0. Kansas City has gotten up on the board early, 1-0 in the top of the first. He swings, grounds it fair to third baseman Charlie Culberson, is able to at least knock it down. I don't know if he slipped or if he was just, if that was his intention just to knock it down. But either event, the Orioles have something cooking, get runners on first and second again here to start the inning. That ball is right over third base, and that ball is going to be fair. Looks like it hit off the heel of the glove. Culberson is just having a tough day in the field. Clanged into Nathaniel Lowe on a pop-up into right in front of home plate earlier. Now has that one. Not playing every day is not made for the faint of heart. Culberson is now the lone man on the shortstop side of second base as the shift is on for Rougned Odor. Maybe he'll drop down a bunt here and get the runners over. We'll see. That ball is low. 1-0 the count. 16 of his last 26 hits have gone for extra bases, has Rugi. Former fan favorite of the Texas Rangers. You remember years ago he was the one who clocked Jose Bautista over the jaw anyway at second base. That ball is hammered but foul. 88-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch on the inside corner. 1-1. Appreciate you guys joining us. Let us know where you're watching from. The last few games we've done, we've had people who've actually had money on the game. So did any of y'all have money on the game? Got a little action on there? Last night, somebody had a C note down on the Orioles. One and one to Odor. Auto set and the pitch. Slider on the inside corner, fouled off down the line. And it's now 1-2. Odor digging back in. What, to get a base hit? King shot? I think you're already good on that for Mullins, honestly. I have to take a look. The walk in the first. No, I don't think you are. I think you need one more base for Mullins. Half a hit for Odor. If he gets a base hit here, you at least get that half of the leg. No, I don't think he's going to get it done. Pops it up over into center field. Coming in is Tavares. Gets it, and that's the second out of the inning. Gotta wonder if Tavares actually that one was the third out as he kind of jogged back in a few steps after making the catch. McKenna digs in. 1 for 1 today. Remember, he had that base hit in the second anyway, was able to beat it out on the errant throw by Corey Seager. Reds have taken a 3-2 lead over the Mets. Swing and a miss by McKenna. It's 0-1. Rangers bullpen starting to get moving around, at least anyway. Garrett Richards, I don't think he's going to be available tonight. Gave 2 really good relief outings or relief innings yesterday. Otto delivers that one, and McKenna fouls off the catcher mask. 0-2. Now the count to the right fielder McKenna. Two nothing Orioles here in the bottom of the fourth. Runners on first and second. 8th place hitter in the lineup anyway. McKenna is up there, down 0-2 with 2 outs here. Otto set and pitch. Swing and a pitch. Great pitch out there by Otto. Entices the swing from McKenna, and he's out of it there here in the fourth. On to the fifth we go. This is where the Rangers finally scored some runs yesterday. However, their deficit is only 2 at the moment this time. Otto has certainly settled down over the last inning and a half. A little bit warm down here in Texas anyway. Gotta stay cool with these cool shirts. Let us know where you're watching from. Is it just as hot, over 100 degrees, where you're watching from? Notice over the last couple days we've had Baltimore Orioles fans in here quite a bit. Put up a couple of videos here on the site. Videos about Ricky Rubio agreeing to a 3-year, $18.4 million deal with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I've already got recorded a number of videos, probably going to post a couple of them, maybe 1 or 2 tonight, and then record the rest of them that I have planned tonight and post them tomorrow. Downside of a 9-to-5 job is you have a 9-to-5 job, and so you can't post all the time. So I'll try to schedule those for intermittently through the day. Keep y'all up to date on what's going on with your favorite teams. Looks like there might be some storms in the area. Groundskeeper for Baltimore is chatting with the umpire, showing him the radar, it looks like. And we're back for the fifth. Watkins out there again. Cole Calhoun fouls off that first one. 0-1 the count. Calhoun set. Watkins delivers right at the top, just a little bit above the zone there. And it's 1-1. Cole Calhoun, 4 doubles away from 200 in his career. The veteran there compiling some numbers now. That one just off the plate inside, 2-1 by Watkins. Two and two now the count. Watkins set and delivers. Hammered by Calhoun down the line, gets past the shift all the way to the wall. Calhoun rounds first, will easily make it into second as that throw is offline to Mateo. And the Rangers have another leadoff double. It's the second time in this game they've had a leadoff double. See if they can catch in here. Keep in mind, this is, like I mentioned, where the Rangers took off last night. Finally, the Rangers bats came to life, scored 3 runs in that 5th inning. First pitch is a ball there to Brad Miller. Brad Miller this year with runners in scoring position at 290 average, a double, a home run, and 21 RBIs. He's been money in those situations. Seems like he has a little bit different approach when he has a runner on versus not. That pitch bends in there for a strike. That pitch is grounded right to the first baseman, Mancini, and that'll be another productive out, getting the runner over to third with less than 2 outs. We'll see how it goes this time. Tony Beasley, the third pitch coach for the Rangers, speaking with Calhoun about what to expect here. Leody Taveras this time is up. 308 average in his last 16 games for Taveras. Far cry better than what he was doing last year when he was struggling to hit even 100. Taveras hits that pitch down the line just like the Cole Calhoun hit. Calhoun walks in to score, and the Rangers are on the board. Taveras easily makes it into second base. A good strong throw there, but Taveras, the speedster, was there gliding in easily. Nice piece of hitting there by Leody. You might remember that Taveras came from the St. Louis Cardinals. His brother, his older brother anyway, was Oscar. And unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago. Taveras now trying to make a name for himself in Major League Baseball. Rain is falling right now in Baltimore. Culberson tries to offer at that one, and he does miss. That's 0-1. Culberson's having a tough day, both defensively and offensively. He does have a 308 average over his last 20 games. Culberson set and swings, pops it up. Foul grounds, first baseman Mancini makes the catch. Fighting between the water starting to come down a little bit harder by the looks of it. That bunt attempt did not look good by Culberson. Marcus Semien up. Takes ball one off the outside corner. Rangers have scratched across the first run of the game for them. Again, fifth inning seems to be working for the Rangers today. Semien, though, gets underneath this one. We'll see if Mullins is able to get there in time. Instead, right fielder McKenna will get there, and that's the third out of the inning. 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error for the Rangers. 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Orioles. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. Just reading through all the different news and notes of the day, looks like the Lakers have introduced Thomas Durant, the 1-year minimum salary contract they gave him. Looks like he is fully recovered, according to him, fully recovered from the ACL tear that he suffered in early 2021. We'll see how he performs this year coming off of that injury. Remember, they did sign a bunch of younger players this year as well. Damian Jones, Lonnie Walker, Juan Toscano-Anderson, and Troy Brown Jr., as they're going a little bit different route than going after the Avery Bradleys, the Wayne Ellingtons, that type of thing. News out of the NFL we've covered a couple different times is Baker Mayfield was traded to the Carolina Panthers today. The quarterback carousel continues to turn. The Grizzlies and Ja Morant made their 5-year maximum extension official today. We'll see if he can stay healthy for the majority of that. When he is healthy, he is one heck of an asset for the Grizzlies. Really changes the game for them. But he does kind of play 0 to a million miles an hour at all times. And that's what's caused his injury issues a few different times. Auto back out there here for this bottom of the 5th. Spencer Howard was unable to get this far last time. Well, I cover pretty much every team around Major League Baseball, the NBA, NFL, and the NHL. I live in Texas, but so my fandom, of course, is with the Texas Rangers. I make no secret about that. But I'll try to call it right down the line as best I can. Mateo off the end of the bat pops it to right field to Calhoun, who makes the catch. Although that you could make an argument that both the Yankees and Orioles are kind of the Rangers East anyway. Both teams have a number of former Rangers on them. Robinson Trinos, Odor. For the Orioles, Dylan Tate, the former #1 draft pick from that horrible trade the Rangers made for Carlos Beltran. Dylan Tate, for a number of years, struggled in the minor leagues, was finally picked up by the Orioles, and he has finally found some success there. Mullins fouls that ball off, and it's now quickly 0-2 on the Orioles leadoff hitter. Sean, you need a base hit here, hopefully, to kind of make that $100 bet good for you. Mullins has a .391 average over his last 11 games. And the pitch. Right down the left field line. Looks like it may have dropped foul, and it did. Thought it missed by a couple inches, but Miller was still running after it, just in case by much as that pitch kind of went off the handle of the bat. Well, got a little bit more of the barrel than I thought. He was just really late on it. Yeah, he missed it by about that much. Still down 0-2. Rain continuing to fall in Baltimore. If you haven't hit that subscribe button already, please do so. Trying to get over 1,000 for the end of the year. It's a long way to go. Every single one of you help out when you hit that subscribe button. Check swing there by Mullins on the pitch in the dirt. Third base umpire says no. Looks like he might have held back, though. 1-2 is the count. Auto set and the pitch. Kind of jams him well inside there by Mullins. He looks a little bit mystified about what's coming. Looks like he's gearing up for one pitch and trying to steer the bat in a different direction as he corrects on the fly. It's amazing that he's even able to make contact on those. You're calling a home run, huh? Let's see. Foul ball there. Looks like a slider that time. Home run would get you good on that leg of your bet at least. Home run would establish that 2-run lead again. Auto set and the pitch. High up into right field. Calhoun drifting over, drifting, and makes the catch. 2 away there. Mullins hangs his head as he goes back to the dugout. Looks like he thought he might have gotten a little bit more of it than he did. Mancini digs into the box. Tampa now at 4-0 on Boston in the bottom of the 4th. Atlanta and the Cardinals still scoreless. Nice pitch there by Otto. Nice little, we'll call it a curveball. Bends in there for a strike. Kansas City up 3-0 on the Houston Astros. If you're a Ranger fan, that's good news there. Swing and a miss on a ball down low in the dirt by Mancini. And he's down 0-2. Otto's definitely solidified himself today after having a rocky beginning anyway. He's retired 9 of the last 11 batters he's faced. Who are you rooting for anyway, Lil? Swing and a miss by Mancini as he slams the helmet down in disgust. That pitch was out and over the plate. Otto able to put it by him there. Nice pitch there by Otto. And he's through 5. Yeah. Got my Rangers. Usually I have a Rangers cup as well, but I have all kinds of Rangers stuff in my game room anyway. Made a nice little theater room with all the different sports memorabilia I've been able to collect over the years. Back when I was growing up in South Dakota when I was really small, I went to a game where Kirby Puckett, the Hall of Famer, was signing autographs and that kind of thing. That was really cool to get him to sign it. I'm trying to remember who else signed the ball, but I got a couple other different Twins players to sign. That's one of my more valuable possessions I think I got. That's pretty cool. Dirk Nowitzki's autograph with the Mavericks, obviously, when it was still probably, I don't know, maybe year 4 or 5 in the league anyway. It was pretty cool that back when the players would go through the parking garage they had outside of Reunion Arena when the teams would play there. I got him to sign a dollar bill. Michael Finley, he's now an executive for the Mavericks. he was not very happy with the way fans were asking for autographs, and so he was very gruff on his way past us. I remember that. The things you remember from your childhood is when you go to these sporting events is autographs, the big home runs in the game if you're watching a baseball game, who won the game, you remember where you were sitting. Those things are what make moments for young kids. So if you have kids, remember that, about how good a time you had when you went, and don't just watch the game on TV every single game, every single season. I understand it's not feasible for everybody to go and get season tickets, but everybody can go and see a game every now and again. I highly recommend it. Corey Seager, first pitch swinging, as he likes to do, pops this one to lazy fly ball to Mullins. That's the first out. Last night, the home run by Corey Seager, an interesting stat just popped up on the screen. 100-mile-an-hour fastball is the second home run in team off of a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. The only other person to hit it was on the other side of that equation last night, Rougned Odor. He hit one for the Rangers in 2019. Garver digs in. Nice curveball there by Watkins. Rangers got something going last inning. We'll see how they do here in the sixth. For myself, I'll be going to a Ranger game here on Saturday. Hopefully get one of the Corey Seager bobbleheads to add to the collection in there. Really would like the Mount Crushmore that the Rangers have going. Has kind of my Hall of Fame for the Rangers anyway. Juan Gonzalez on there. Those of you who are Ranger fans or baseball fans in general might remember that name. Home run hitter, had a falling out with Rangers front office, and seems to have mended at least some of the fences anyway with the team since then. Rafael Palmeiro, whatever you think of his PED use or not thereof, or whatever the case may be, he was definitely one of my favorite players growing up. Just his ability to play first base, just had a swagger that not many people played with back then in baseball. 2-2 to Garver. Garver pops that one up to first base. Mancini is over and makes the catch in foul territory. 2 away. Pudge Rodriguez, of course, is on that one. Mount Crushmore statue and Adrian Beltre. Ranger from more recent years anyway will likely be inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's expected he'll go in with a Rangers cap if he is indeed inducted. There are not many third basemen in the Hall, but Beltre is definitely deserving. Lowe hits this one down the left field line again, going the opposite way into the corner. About 7 rows back, foul after the left fielder Hayes gave it a nice chase there. But I'll be going to the Ranger game on Saturday. I'll post a couple of videos that I record beforehand, post them online. Might post a video on there, some game action possibly. We'll see. Swing and a miss by Lowe, and he's quickly down 0-2. Kind of an excuse me swing there, and he fouls that one off. Still 0-2. Watkins delivers. Fouled off again by Lowe. That one looked like a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, a little bit above the zone there. Rain still falling sporadically anyway in Baltimore. Doesn't look like it's going to be too big of an issue tonight. They might get the whole game in without having to have a rain delay. Swing and a miss by Lowe. 77-mile-an-hour curveball in the dirt. Toss on to first. Completes the strikeout. And we go to the bottom half of the sixth. One of the best fan experiences that I've ever had at a game is, of course, with hockey. I really enjoyed the experience that I had there. I was not expecting to have that great of a time. Well, I was still expecting to have a good time, don't get me wrong. But, like, I was not expecting it to be that intense, that amazing. The Just the whole scene, even around just a normal regular season game, was fantastic. I did get a chance to go see the Anaheim Ducks, Anaheim versus Dallas playoff game a couple of years back. That was special. If you ever get to go to a playoff game in hockey, prepare not to sit at all the entire game. You're paying for the space to be able to stand and watch the game, honestly. It is that intense. Even down here in Texas, where hockey is not exactly first of mind when it comes to sports anyway, but it is growing. And if you ever get a chance to go, the Stars games are probably the best experience I've ever had at a live sporting event. Second would probably be tied between the Rangers and Dallas Mavericks. I've been to a Cowboy game, I went to a Christmas Day game years ago when they played back then they were called the Washington Redskins. I think it was 1997 back at the old Texas Stadium. I have not been to a game at the new Jerry World anyway, but that new the screen that they have in the middle, I imagine, makes the experience there a lot better. I remember the game that I went to, the entire play took place on the other side of the field, and so I wasn't able to see any of it. There was a tiny little screen in one corner of the stadium that you could still see the ESPN Sunday Night Football game. I think it was December 27th anyway. And you could still see a little bit of the action, but all of the action was on the other side of the field. I imagine with the new stadium that Jerry World has built, that's been solved as well. So going to these live sporting events, really encourage you to do so. But when an event you can't go to, or you're stuck at work, or you don't have the money to buy season tickets, or be able to get out of work, or travel to the site, or if you don't live in the market and you just want to be able to follow your favorite team, keep it here at the Upside. Not just for the game and the live streams, we'll also keep you up to date on all the news that happens around all four of the major sports. As I already mentioned, the NFL had a little bit of news today. Not usually the calendar or part of the calendar where you get some news, but the the Carolina Panthers wanted to solve their quarterback situation before training camp rolled around, and that's exactly what they did. Brock Burke is in for the Rangers here in the bottom of the sixth. He has a 1.12 ERA, leads all rookies in that category. Santander is due up first. He flips over to the right side with the lefty on the mound. Santander to be followed by Hayes and Rutschman. Glenn Otto, after some struggles early on, definitely solidified himself, was able to get his feet back underneath him as his start wore on. One and two the count. Fouled off there. And that's strike three right at the top of the zone. Santander unable to make contact and strikes out swinging, one away. That ERA just keeps ticking on down for Brock Burke. He's a name to keep in mind if you're a Ranger fan of possibly being a starter as the season goes on. He was originally a starter coming up through the organization with the Tampa Bay Rays, and then that trade of Jurickson Profar brought him in along with Eli White. Eli White provided us with some highlight level center field catches out there earlier this year. He has since been injured. He'll be out for an extended period of time with a wrist injury. Strike one there to Austin Hayes, 91-mile-an-hour changeup. The only worry anyway that I have for Brock Burke in the bullpen is that his stuff does play up in shorter stints. He's able to go a little bit more max effort, but he's always been a very good pitcher. After his injury a couple of years ago, and then inability to throw strikes last year, coming into spring training, he was not expected to break camp with the big club, but he pitched that well in spring training and was able to find that form that he had that made him a trade piece that the Rangers were after in that Profar deal. That pitch is up at the eyes of Austin Hayes. Ball one. 1-1. Burke set and fires. Austin Hayes makes contact, flies out to left. Brad Miller makes the catch. Nice play there. Adley Rutschman digging into the box, 2 away here in the bottom of the 6th. Brock Burke, as I mentioned, is more of a long reliever, so I expect him to possibly work 2 innings here tonight after the bullpen's been used a little bit much over the last few days. Strike 1 there, 93-mile-an-hour fastball. That pitch is well outside of the zone in the other batter's box, and it's 1-1. Changeup does find the zone there, right at the knees. Strike 2, 1-2. Burke 1 strike away from another scoreless inning. That one is fouled away by Rutschman. Hanging tough. Burke uses a little bit of the rosin there. That way, a little better grip on this one. That one is a ball up high, and it's 2-2. Mixed up locations here so far in this at bat to Rutschman. At the top of the zone there, 4-seam fastball. Rutschman makes some contact there and flies out to center to Leody Taveras. Due up next for the Rangers in the top of the 7th, it'll be Jonah Heim, Cole Calhoun, and Brad Miller, your 5, 6, 7 batters. Nice hit there by Rutschman, just in front of the warning track, but Taveras was able to track it down. Checking out on scores from around the league, the Braves have finally got on the board. It's 2-0 over St. Louis. Kansas City up 4-0 still on Houston. The Angels are on top of the Miami Marlins 3-1. In the top of the 7th, they got a little something cooking as well. The Reds still 3, Mets 2 in the top of the 6th. Phillies 2-1 over the Nationals at the moment in the bottom of the 6th. Yankees, after losing last night on the road to Pittsburgh, they are right now tied at 0 in the 3rd inning. Tampa Bay still on top 4-0 over Boston. Houston just scratched across their first run of the game. It's now 4-1. But thank you guys for joining us again for another one of our live streams. Some news and notes around the NBA. It sounds like the move for Jalen Brunson was fully a Leon Rose move. So apparently, his career as his tenure as president of basketball operations in New York is now strictly going to be tied to the success of the Jalen Brunson signing, moving off a number of draft assets and contracts of Walker, Noel, and Burks to be able to sign Brunson. Ball one there, low to Jonah Heim here in the top of the 7th. Watkins has pitched very well for Baltimore today. Heim is 0 for 2. All it takes is one mighty swing, though. Fouls off that pitch, and it's 1-1. Another foul ball, and it's 1-2. That pitch on the just off the inside corner. I'm able to make contact. Jose Leclerc is loosening out in the bullpen, so that might be a 1-inning outing for Brock Burke. We'll see. As Heim nailed that one off of his leg anyway. Goes down in a heap. Training staff comes out to check on him. Probably fine. Looks like he might have taken that one off of his knee. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, though. After getting hit with the ball off a number of different foul tips all night, Jonah Heim's like, really? Now I'm doing it to myself? Yep, right off the inside of that right knee. No padding there. And he will stay in the game. 1-2 the count, though, to Jonah Heim as he stretches out. That pitch low and inside, almost at that same knee, and it's now 2-2. Hammered foul by Heim to stay alive. Nice curveball there by Watkins, and Jonah Heim grounds it over to shortstop Jose Mateo on to first, and the first out here in the 7th. Rangers running out of time if they're going to get something done. Jonah Heim is now 0 for 3 in the game. This game certainly doesn't have the offense that it has the last couple of days anyway. But of course, almost all of the run scoring came later on later on last night. We'll see how that goes tonight. Rain, of course, I'm sure having a little bit of an effect on it. But remember, things go crazy now here in the 7th, 8th, and 9th over the last couple nights. We'll see what happens here. Pop-up curveball there. Does not fall back in the zone. 1-0 now the count to Cole Calhoun. An even higher pitch there, and it's 2-0. Okay, or it looks like Watkins, excuse me, might have lost his release point. He's only at 76 pitches here in the top of the seventh. As I mentioned, the Rangers' hitting approach this year is to be very aggressive early in the count. Another pitch well above the zone, and it's 3-0 now. There's a good strike there by Watkins on the outside corner. Called a strike there. Calhoun helps out Watkins on that one, as that one surely would have been ball 4. Low and inside. Instead, it's full. 3-2, 1 out here in the top of the seventh. Baltimore on top of the Rangers, 2-1. Orioles do have Brian Baker in the bullpen, loosening right now. Should Watkins get to any trouble this inning. But so far, he's been in pretty good command so far. Fouled off there by Calhoun, staying alive. Still 3-2. Another foul ball by Calhoun. Back-to-back cutters thrown by Watkins. Calhoun able to come up with an answer for both. Long pause here between the two. Trying to get on the right page. Watkins set and the pitch. And that's ball 4 off the inside corner. Will Watkins remain in the game? I don't know. A 1-out walk here by Watkins. Brad Miller due up. Huge overshift on. That pitch, looked a little bit outside to the pitch tracks, but Brad Miller nods his head to see where that one was called a strike. Robo-ump obviously doesn't call that one a strike next year, but as of right now, still up to the home plate umpire to make those ball and strike calls. 0-1 to Miller. That pitch at the top of the zone, 90-mile-an-hour fastball, pops straight up in the air behind second base. Mateo is set underneath it and makes the catch. And 2 away. Leody Taveras is due up next. Six and 2/3 so far by Watkins. Only 1 run has come across to score. Remember, the Rangers do have Adolis Garcia's bat to go to, and Watkins is indeed going to be pulled after 6 and 2/3. Great start for Watkins. Gets a nice round of applause by the Baltimore faithful. And it looks like Baker is the one that's coming out of the bullpen. Surprised that they're not going to give Watkins the chance to finish off the seventh, as it didn't look like he had lost his command too much. Had an effortless-looking delivery, but Brandon Hyde electing to go ahead and make sure that his starter leaves the game with the lead. Understands that he did make a great start today. Most transactions around the sports world around holidays tend to slow down, waiting for things to pick back up around the NBA. But free agency, most of the big names have already gotten off the board, so there's not too much to look forward to there. So keep your eyes peeled for NHL free agency. That's probably going to be right around the time KD makes his decision for, or as far as when KD's trade probably will go down. Kyrie will probably be traded shortly thereafter. But the NHL, of course, does most of their offseason work all in one day, so kind of keep your eyes peeled for that. If you're able to watch some of the Canadian coverage, I highly recommend it. The stories they're able to give, the analysis, trade breakers, and all that, it's fantastic. If you've ever watched NFL Live on NFL Trade Deadline Day, or if you've watched NBA Today or NBA Live before that, on Trade Deadline Day. Very similar presentation, except a lot more in depth and a whole lot more moves are made. So it's always entertaining. Every team makes a signing of some type, so no fan base goes without some type of news on that day. There's no, the white smoke is cleared. We have not gone after anybody. Most free agents make their decision on that day. Brian Baker is indeed in. 4.9 ERA. Leody Taveras does have that double down the line in right in his last at bat. 269 average now on the year. 719 OPS, 2 home runs. Really picking things up at the plate. Pickoff attempt there, no good. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Orioles lead 2-1. Game's starting to get a little bit late now for the Rangers. They need to get something going. Last night, all 5 inherited runners scored for the Orioles. That bodes well for the Rangers if you're a Rangers fan. Hard hit ball into left. Leody Taveras comes through again. Base hit there, and there's going to be 2 on, 2 out. Runners on first and second. Nice piece of hitting there. Rudely greeting Brian Baker to the ball game. And will we have a pinch hitter for Charlie Culberson here? I'd imagine so. Maybe Josh Smith or Adolis Garcia could see themselves come in here as a pinch hitter. I'm curious to see if they go that route or if they give Culberson the opportunity to hit. They are going with Culberson. I probably would have pinch hit here with either one of Smith or Garcia. Garcia was a little bit of a free swinger last night, so maybe you go back to Smith. Save the bat of Garcia for one big swing late in the game if you're still down in the 9th. Rangers tonight is struggling with runners in scoring position, but have improved greatly over the past month and a half in that category. They're only 1 for 7 tonight, though. 1-0 now to Culberson. Baker set. And the pitch. Fouled away. 97-mile-an-hour fastball up and away. That pitch right down the middle, a 4-seam fastball, swing and a miss. It's now 1-2. Orioles a strike away from getting out of a first and second jam here. Ooh. Just watching the replay of that one. Culberson kind of max effort swing on that one. Fouled away on the outside corner. Culberson able to go get enough of that one. Still surprised they didn't pinch hit for Culberson here. He does have, or his average this year, 246, no home runs though, a 549 OPS. Baker set. And the pitch. Well outside. 2-2 now the count. 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He reached back for a little extra on that one. Still surprised they're not going with Josh Smith here. They keep panning on the camera. Broadcast, I think, is thinking the same thing. The pitch. In the dirt. Ball 3. Rangers will be happy with a walk. Marcus Semien is on deck. With 2 outs, runners will be in motion now. So a base hit will definitely score a run. 3-2, full count, 2 outs, 2 on. 2-1 score in the top of the 7th. 7th pitch of the at-bat here. Hard hit ball right at short. Mateo up with it on to first. Nice pick by Mancini, and the side is retired. Tough break for Rangers fans, as that pitch was hit pretty hard by Culberson, but on a one-hop smash to the shortstop, not going to get the job done there. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Orioles on top, 2-1. So far, today's game going a lot quicker than last night. Last night we had a 4-hour and 7-minute stream anyway. Today we're already at 2 hours and 10, so roughly half the time. We're already halfway through, a little over 2/3 of the way through the game. Pace of play a little bit better, of course. A lot less run scoring will do that. Of course, you've seen average game times for certain matchups, Yankees and Red Sox, take 4 hours regularly. Nobody likes that kind of a game time. People have things to do. I know those of you who are watching me right now probably are doing something yourselves at work, unable to watch the game yourself. You're out of the region for your favorite team. Say you live in Ohio and you're a Ranger fan, kind of tough to watch a Ranger game in Ohio unless you have MLB.TV. If you're an Oriole fan, stuck working a shift at the office, you're a watchman at night anyway, and you have to be a security guard, whatever the case may be, and you're listening to us, we appreciate it. If you're traveling on the road, keep your eyes on the road, of course. But out of the radio broadcast, more than happy to keep you updated what's going on in the game. Jose Leclerc is indeed coming out for the bottom of the 7th. Brock Burke does get the job done, 1 inning. Lowers his ERA, or his league-leading rookie ERA to 1.09. Jose Leclerc comes on. He has a 9.0 ERA, but he's only had like 3 or 4 outings so far. His best pitch, of course, is the Slambio, and that's been difficult for Jonah Heim, the catcher for the Rangers, to be able to catch so far. He's never really worked with Jose Leclerc before. This is his first real opportunity to work with him regularly, so we'll see how he does today. We don't want to see any pass balls, that kind of thing. For the Orioles, they have Ramon Urias, followed by Rougned Odor and Brendan McKenna. They do lead 2-1 here. First pitch swinging, Urias grounds out to Marcus Semien. Nice play there. 1 pitch, 1 away for Leclerc. I was kind of curious to see if the Rangers do have the lead in the 9th, if they do go to a guy like Jose Leclerc who has closing experience to shut the door. In 4 games this year for Leclerc, 5 innings, he struck out 4 and walked 1. So his command has been there. He has given up, I believe, a home run in his last outing, gave up 2 runs, inflated that ERA a little bit. Odor takes low for a ball. The former Ranger looking to extend the Oriole lead here. Doesn't have a base hit yet today, but has played great defense, robbed the Rangers of a couple of hits from their 2 high-priced offseason acquisitions in Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. Foul ball, this one off the other side of the knee for Jonah Heim. Ouch. He got hit off the inside of the right knee when he was hitting, and now got hit off the inside of the left knee on the foul ball by Odor. That one went right off the pad, though, right off the top of the knee. So at least he hit the pad this time instead of actually hitting the knee. That would hit him right in the kneecap, though, so it still probably smarts a little bit. 1-1. Leclerc set, and the pitch. Misses with that one, 88 miles an hour on just off the plate. Misses by about 2 or 3 inches there. Leclerc waiting for Odor to get back in the box. Set, and the pitch. Good pitch there, 82 mile an hour. Looks like he took a little bit off that one, but that one did not miss by much. Maybe a half an inch off the outside corner. Odor able to lay off, though, and it's 3-1. That pitch in the wheelhouse for Odor, but pulls it foul. And it's full. Leclerc, after just getting one out, drops his ERA over half a run. So, as I mentioned, he's only thrown 5 innings so far this year. And Odor is able to work a walk. Nice piece of work there by Rugi. As that one misses down low in the dirt. Not a bad idea by the Rangers. Willing to let him chase, not let him get a hold of one and make you pay for it. He does have some speed, so you got to be mindful of that. McKenna digs in. The pitch. Off the fist, foul down the first base line, and it's 0-1. This one on the outside part of the plate, fouled away by McKenna, and Leclerc is quickly ahead, 0-2. Leclerc tries to entice a swing there as that one misses low and away, does not offer. 1-2 now, the count to McKenna. Pickoff attempt there. Odor is back in there safely. Leclerc set. Another pickoff attempt. Rugi takes a half a step back and is back in there safe. Definitely cut down that lead on that attempt there. See if Leclerc focuses here on McKenna with this one. Odor gets a little bit bigger lead this time. Maybe a step and a half off of first. Swing and a miss. Great pitch there by Leclerc. That pitch looked like it started out at the outside corner and then just completely took off well outside, but McKenna able to offer his offers at it, and Leclerc gets the strikeout. 2 out here in the bottom of the 7th. A good bounce back performance by Leclerc after giving up 2 runs in his last outing. I believe it was his last outing anyway. Mateo in there, 0 for 2 for today. Nice pitch there, 82-mile-an-hour Slombio there. It's kind of hard to describe the Slombio. It's more of a slider. He can speed it up for a little bit more of a fastball type of movement on it. He can throw it a little bit softer to get a little bit more depth on it. He can throw a bit more pace on it to the outside and get some wicked motion to the outside. So it's more of a one-pitch type of pitcher, and then is able to do different things with it depending on how he lets go of it and how fast he ends up throwing it. That one misses outside, and it's 1-1. That one bounces in there, but nice play there by Heim, blocking that one and keeping it in front of him. 2-1 now. That one up and in, right at the top of the zone on the inside corner, and it's a strike. 2-2, the count to Mateo. Perez is loose in the bullpen for the Orioles. He looks like he will work the top of the 8th. Mateo still unhappy about that call. They're calling it a slider, but that's his Slombio. Same kind of a pitch. That one is a little bit elevated, though, and it's 3-2. With 2 outs here, Odor will be in motion on the pitch. A double in the outfield probably scores him. Leclerc set, and the pitch. Popped up. Foul territory on first base side. Lowe is there and makes the catch. Nice outing here by Jose Leclerc. Building that confidence, working back from injury. You don't want to use him too often after the injuries that he's had over the past year and a half, but definitely shows the effectiveness that he had when he was the Rangers closer. Still doesn't look like he has the velocity that he had back then, though. Looks a couple of miles an hour slower, at least from my eye, anyway. And then we go to the 7th, or excuse me, to the top of the 8th. The Rangers will have top of the order due up for them: Simeon, Seager, and Garver. Rangers hoping to get something done in the 8th, and then hopefully keep it that way. They've had difficulty the last couple of nights closing out games after having the lead in the 9th in both of the first 2 games of this series and then blowing the save in both of them. If the Rangers do get the lead here in the 8th and go to the 9th with it, I'll be very curious to see if they bring out Joe Barlow. Leclerc in just this outing dropped his ERA from a 9 to a 7.5 with that scoreless inning. Only scoring for the Orioles, of course, came on that error by Corey Seager. On the base hit by McKenna, the wild throw forced across the 2nd run. The Rangers were able to get 1 in the 5th. That's where we stand right now. There has been some rain falling periodically throughout the game. Glenn Otto started off a little bit rocky for the Rangers, but definitely calmed it down in the third, fourth, and fifth. Was able to get through 5. Semien, ooh, I'm a little bit confused by this home plate umpire. That one was a couple inches outside, was not getting called. Baker comes out to face Semien at least. Perez is loose in the bullpen, possibly for Seager. So this might be the last batter for Baker. 1-1 now after a ball there to Semien. 2-1 here in the top of the 8th. Really cannot wait to see robo-umps in Major League Baseball. I'm tired of getting ball strike calls right or wrong when they shouldn't be that type of decision. It's a clear yes or no. When something like that is as easy to tell now with the technology that we have, I don't understand the difficulties, or at least the resistance to it. Swing and a miss by Semien there. And it's 1-2. And he fouls off that one to stay alive, and it stays 1-2. Rain falling a little bit more precipitously right now. Officials still hoping to get this game in. We are in the top of the 8th here. That pitch is just off the outside corner, a little bit further this time. Baker was hoping for the strikeout there. Semien set. Baker the pitch. Up and in, able to get the strikeout there. Foul tip into the catcher's mitt. Rutschman able to hold on. Baker fired up after that strikeout. And it does indeed look like we'll have a pitching change here. As they show the home run last night for Corey Seager. 2-run shot in the top of the 9th to give him the 9-8 advantage. Baker is pulled, and it does look like they're going with Perez, the lefty. Seager going over the notebooks that the Rangers have of all the different offerings Perez has to work with. As we wait for the inning to get back underway anyway, some news around the league and around all 4 of the major sports anyway. First, the Baker Mayfield trade is probably the biggest news of the day. Baker Mayfield finally being moved from the Cleveland Browns to the Carolina Panthers for a conditional 5th-round pick. He also gave up $3.5 million of his guaranteed salary in order to facilitate the move. A little bit disappointing if you're a Baker Mayfield fan. You once thought this was going to be your home in Cleveland. Cleveland fans, of course, were completely behind you. No matter how limited you may or may not have been at quarterback, it seemed like you had found a home with Cleveland. And Cleveland had finally found a quarterback that at least was able to be capable of leading them to a playoff victory just a year ago. But it's not about how or what you've done in the past. It's all about what you can do going forward. And he does have his limitations at the quarterback position. And so when you're not an elite option at the quarterback position, teams are willing to upgrade from you. And that's what they did by going out and getting Deshaun Watson. Now, whether or not that's the right move, right quarterback for the Browns to get, does not matter at this point. The left-hander Perez is on. 31 games this year, a 1.03 ERA. He's been absolutely filthy. We saw him go in the opener of this series and was dominant in that one. 26 1/3 innings pitched, 25 strikeouts, and 11 walks. Seager is in there. Lazy fly ball on that first pitch out to left field. Hayes makes the catch through the raindrops. And there is 2 away. 2 up, 2 down here for the Rangers. Mitch Garver, the last hope here in the 8th for them. One swing here by Garver could tie it up. We saw that last night from him. Does he have a little bit more magic left in that bat? As I mentioned, he does have that elbow injury that prevents him from playing in the field, but he's still proven to be a very effective bat. Rain is starting to come down a little bit more. Perez, nice curveball there on the inside corner. Garver taking all the way, and it's 0-1. Garver 0 for 3 on the day today, though. He's the designated hitter again for the Rangers. No Adolis Garcia in the lineup today. That pitch right down the middle, 98-mile-an-hour fastball, fouled off down the left field line, right field line, about 25 rows into the seats. And it's quickly 0-2. For those of you Ranger fans out there, if Garver is retired here, the top of the ninth anyway, you will have nice swing there by Garver. Bounces back into the field of play, but that's a foul ball. Nathaniel Lowe with a 3-run homer last night. He has punished the ball so far today as well. Will be due up next. But it'll be Lowe, Heim, and Calhoun in the ninth if Garver is unable to reach. With Garcia, of course, being a bench bat, and Josh Smith as well. That pitch is up and away for a ball, and it's 1-2. 97-mile-an-hour heat. This season, the Texas Rangers have lost 16 one-run games. That's the most by far in all of baseball. The Rangers have always flirted with being around the league lead for most wins for one-run games or most losses. Ground ball there by Garver. Urias handles it easily, taps his glove, throws onto first. Nice stretch there by Mancini on the poor throw by Urias, and Garver is retired. 1 run, 5 hits, 1 error for the Rangers. 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Orioles. A little bit of a pitcher's duel today. Didn't think we were going to get that with the starters that were on the mound, but that's the way it worked out. Watkins pitched a great 6 2/3 for the Orioles. Otto gave up 2 runs. Only one of them was earned on the error by Seager back in the second inning. And that's kind of pretty much all the scoring for the Orioles. The Rangers, of course, were able to scratch across a run in the 5th. But they're going to have some work to do in the 9th. Due up for the Orioles, they're going to have Cedric Mullins, Trey Mancini, and Anthony Santander. Curious to see who the Rangers are going to go to out of the bullpen. Possibly Brett Martin, if I had to guess, to go up against the lefty in Mullins and Santander. Maybe Matt Moore for the 3rd straight day will be called upon after only throwing about 12 pitches in the last 2 games combined. But Martin did not pitch yesterday, so in my opinion, he should be the guy coming out of the bullpen here. Of course, they did call up Colby Allard as well, another lefty who has some long relief abilities as well. He has been known to give up the gopher ball every now and again, but he's been kind of shuttled back and forth between AAA and the big club all year. We'll see what ends up happening, but both teams need to get this thing going if they're going to get it in before the rain calls the game anyway. Waiting for them to get back from commercial break. It does look like it's going to be Brett Martin. Or possibly be Brett Martin out of the bullpen next. But it is Leclerc to start it anyway. Martin is indeed loosening out there. Or at least stretching around. Now they send him back down the tunnel to get him out of the rain. Looks like they're going to let Leclerc finish this inning possibly. Popped up there by Mullins. Mullins again frustrated with himself. Simeon waiting for it, waiting for it, waiting for it, makes the catch. Quick out there by Leclerc. A little bit surprised they're making Leclerc go back out there for a second inning of work. He has never been a multi-inning reliever. And especially coming off of injury, you got to wonder the wisdom of forcing him out there for another inning. Mancini in there, swing and a miss, offers at that one in the dirt, unable to hold up on the swing. 0-1 the count. Leclerc up to 20 pitches now in the game. That one's a ball inside, and it's 1-1. Atlanta has extended their lead over the Cardinals 3-0 in the top of the eighth. Royals are up 5-1 on the Astros. Mancini pounds the ball back through the box, and Tavares gathers it in center. A one-out single there by Mancini. And Anthony Santander is due up next. Still waiting for him to dig into the box, and he's finally set. Swing and a miss. Santander looked like he might have pulled something on that swing. He swung so hard. That pitch was a little bit above the strike zone. Santander unable to catch up to it, though, and it's 0-1. As I mentioned, the Rangers will have Lowe, Heim, and Calhoun due up in the top of the ninth if they're able to get the double play ball here on Santander. Looks like the Rangers are willing to let Santander chase that one, but he doesn't offer at it. Looks like the Orioles are going to go a different route to try to get the save tonight. That pitch hit hard down the right field line. Foul. Back up into the upper deck down the right field line. Only a couple fans out there trying to gather it. And, of course, they do, because they're the only ones there. Hanging through all the rain right now. 1-2 now. That pitch on the inside corner. Santander fouls it down the right field line again into the seats. Vicious fights now for foul balls in the seats as they try to race over and topple over seats. One 25-year-old, 30-year-old young man gets it in front of the 10-year-old. That ball's a little low. 90-mile-an-hour fastball on that one. Misses, and it's 2-2. Santander 0 for 3 in the game. Rangers opt not to force him to turn around by bringing in a lefty. Santander requests time. The set and the pitch. Swing and a miss. Santander way out in front on that one. Try to wave at it and keep the bat in the zone as long as he could. Unable to make contact, and he is the second out of the inning. Nice pitch there by Leclerc. Started the day with a 9.0 ERA, down to 6.75 already. Austin Hayes due up next, 0 for 3 in the game as well. Leclerc up to 28 pitches on the day. with the off day tomorrow. I still wouldn't expect him to pitch on Friday either. Has got to give that arm time to still get used to being in the major leagues, throwing with the consistency that he is. Hayes' first pitch pops it up to right field. Calhoun ranges in, takes a few more steps in, and makes the catch. And to the ninth we go. The three Rangers due up next for the Rangers: Nathaniel Lowe, Jonah Heim, and Cole Calhoun. Lowe and Calhoun have had nice games so far for the Rangers. Heim is 0 for 3. And as I've mentioned more than once over the past couple days, Nathaniel Lowe has absolutely carried this Ranger offense for the better part of a month and a half. We'll see if he can do so yet again. Curious to see who they're going to bring out of the bullpen for the Orioles to face the 4-5-6 part of the order for the Rangers. It will not be Felix Bautista, who was given the save opportunity last night. Leclerc able to drop his earned run average down to 6.43, shaving over 2.5 runs off of it with 2 shutout innings today. Great job by Jose. If you can get him back to anywhere close to what he was before that injury, the Rangers bullpen, that's already been very good ever since probably about midway through April anyway. I believe they're third or second best in the majors. The last couple of days, of course, notwithstanding. But if they're able to get another solid, high-quality arm out there, being able to lock down games for this young team should work wonders for them down the stretch. Jorge Lopez is the guy they're going to call upon today, a 1.88 ERA. Pitched very well so far this year. The righty will look to get out Lowe, Heim, and Calhoun. A little bit surprised they're not going with a lefty or allowing Perez to continue. But Lowe did crush the ball off a lefty last night, so who knows? Maybe that's the thought process there. Lowe has his average up to 286 on the year, a 799 OPS with 12 home runs this year. Here we go. Top of the ninth, last chance here for the Texas Rangers. In 35 games this year, he is 1.88 ERA, 38 and a third innings, 42 strikeouts and 15 walks. He does have 13 saves on the year. The last 3 games, though, he's pitched an inning and a third and allowed 5 runs in that span. Hence the reason they probably went with Felix Bautista last night. Lopez is getting the call, though. Nice pitch there, off speed on the outside corner. Lowe takes it for strike 1. Lowe has a double in today's game and a single. 96-mile-an-hour fastball misses by about a foot outside. 1-1. Rain still falling there in Baltimore. Top of the ninth. Orioles in front 2-1. 3 outs away from another victory and completing the sweep against the Rangers. 97-mile-an-hour fastball misses up high. Not by much, though, there, and it's 2-1. Lopez wanted that one. Lopez set and the pitch. On the outside corner, a little tapper. Mateo sprinting across the diamond, able to retire Lowe, and that's the first out of the inning. Jonah Heim due up next anyway. Just waiting for them to get set. Really cannot wait for the pitch clock as well to speed this late innings up. But as it stands, Orioles up 2-1 here in the top of the ninth. One out here after retiring high or retiring low. Fastball there on the outside corner, misses by a fraction, and I mean a fraction. Looks like the umpire is starting to squeeze just a little bit on this zone. Curveball bends in there. Up and out over the plate. Strike one, 1-1. Base hit up the box by Jonah Heim. Sharp line drive to up the middle. Cedric Mullins gets the ball back in there, and the Rangers have a runner on. That one was more in left center, honestly. The shift unable to stop the play there. Probably would have been right at Mateo if they were in their traditional positions. Nice piece of hitting by Heim, taking the ball the other way. He will be lifted for a pinch runner. Can't blame him there. He is by far the best hitting catcher on the Rangers roster. However, you need a run, and he's taking balls off the knees today. So he's probably feeling a little ginger out there. Steven Duggar takes over as the pinch runner at first. He was acquired again from the San Francisco Giants in a trade for Willie Calhoun. Cole Calhoun is out there, swings and misses at the off-speed pitch at the knees. Strike one. Cole Calhoun today has gotten a double and a walk. He has also scored the only run of the day for the Rangers. Lopez set. And the pickoff attempt at first, back safely. Good attempt there, though, by Lopez. Duggar is back in there easily. Rangers do like to push the pace as far as on the base pass. They have not stolen a base yet today. Maybe they're going to push the envelope and try to get something going. Calhoun set. Fastball on the inside corner, fouled straight back to the screen off the fists, and it's quickly 0-2 to the veteran Calhoun. Strike three there at the top of the zone. That honestly was a little bit high, but Lopez is able to get the call there. Lopez has been squeezed on a couple. This time back doesn't get squeezed on that with a generous call. Didn't miss the top of the zone by much, though, there. Good pitch. Calhoun just grimaces and walks back to the dugout. Rangers 1 out away now from being swept in Baltimore. It's been a tough series so far for the Rangers. 2 blown saves in back-to-back games. A knuckle curveball there by Lopez, falling in the strike zone there. Brad Miller, 0 for 3 on the day. A little bit surprised they're not going with Adolis Garcia. Miller has been clutch for them at times in the past so far this year. However, he is 0 for 3 on the day and is only a 2-11 hitter at the moment. Swings and misses at that one. 0-1. Orioles fans already on their feet. Another pickoff attempt. Duggar back in there safely. Two outs here in the top of the ninth. 2-1 Baltimore lead. Nice curveball there. Bends over the outside corner, and it's quickly 0-2 to Brad Miller. Rangers down to their final strike. Baltimore in front, 2-1 here in the top of the ninth. And the pitch. Nice hard hit ball by Miller down the right field line. Is it fair? If it's fair, it's a homer. Don't see a symbol yet. Oh, it looks like it just missed. That was a wow. That had Orioles fans' hearts stopped, I'm sure. But it does go foul. And it's still one strike left for the Rangers. Oh, just pushed, just a hair foul. Missed it by about 5-6 feet down the line. Towering fly ball. Still 0-2 on Brad Miller. Long pause here by Lopez. Looks like he was trying to bait Miller into calling for time because he didn't want to call it. And he does. Adolis Garcia has now stepped into the on-deck circle for Leody Taveras. Taveras has played well, has swung the bat well as well. Miller, swing and a miss, strikes out, and that's the ball game. Great job by the Orioles. They get the 3-game sweep over the Rangers. Rangers, unfortunately, unable to get anything really going in this game. More of a pitcher's duel all game long. Great rebound performance by Lopez after allowing 5 runs in his last inning and a third. Gets the save, and the Orioles get the sweep of the Rangers in Baltimore. Score for today's game, Orioles were able to scratch across 2 runs in the second inning after an error by Corey Seager allowed a second run to score on an infield hit by McKenna. His wild throw allowed another run to cross home plate. That proved to be the difference in the game. The only run for the Rangers coming across in the 5th, Cole Calhoun hit a double, quick followed up by Leody Taveras, who also hit down a double down the right field line. And that's your scoring in the game. Glenn Otto for the Rangers started the game. His first real good start anyway since coming back from the COVID IL. His previous 2 starts, he had a 15 earned run average. Today, he allowed 2 over 5 innings. His first 2 innings were a little rocky as far as finding location. The last 3, he did find some consistency, was able to get some sharp break on his balls and get some swing and miss. He pitched much better in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Out of the 6th, Brock Burke came out and pitched very well for the Rangers. The 7th, anyway, and 8th were pitched by Jose Leclerc, and he pitched very well for the Rangers as well. On the Baltimore side, Watkins was your starter for the Baltimore Orioles. He pitched a gem of a game, 6 2/3. Honestly, I thought he shouldn't have been pulled in that 7th inning. But as it remains, they were able to hold on and get the victory. Watkins improves to 2-1 on the year, and his ERA drops to 4.15. Otto gets the loss. He's now 4-5 with a 5.26 earned run average, and Jorge Lopez has a bounce-back performance and gets the save. His 14th of the year, his ERA drops down to 1.83 after a rough couple of outings last week anyway. Rangers fall to 37-43 on the year, 3rd in the AL West. The Orioles, of course, are last in the American League East at 39-44. As far as the game itself, game passed much quicker today than last night anyway. 10 innings, extra innings last night anyway. But the Rangers lose and are swept by the Baltimore Orioles. Appreciate you guys joining us here at the Upside. As I mentioned, Baker Mayfield was traded by the Cleveland Browns today. He was kind of the big news outside of this game in the sports world. He was moved for a conditional 5th-round pick. He shaved off $3.5 million of his salary to do so. Interesting part of that trade, Sam Darnold was not involved in that trade going back. So the former draft, the draft a few years back when Mayfield was drafted number 1 overall by the Browns, and then Darnold was number 2 by the Jets. Both quarterbacks don't work out in their original destinations and are going to be in a quarterback competition, at least according to Carolina right now, going into training camp. We'll see who ends up grabbing that job, but that'll be something to keep an eye on as training camp comes around. From the NBA, we saw last night Thomas Bryant agreed to a contract to join the LA Lakers. You can see that video up here on the YouTube page. Appreciate all you guys joining us. We'll put out a few more videos tonight. Record a whole bunch. That way, tomorrow I can set them out. That way, you guys can stay up to date on all the latest from your favorite team from the NBA, MLB, NFL, and the NHL. Again, today's game, 2-1. Orioles take the victory and the sweep of the Texas Rangers. Watkins, your winner. Otto, the loser, and Lopez gets the save. Play of the game, of course, was the infield single by Brendan McKenna anyway. Is able to beat it out to first, and the wild throw by Seager allows the second run to score. proved to be the winning run in the game. And that's basically the story. Great pitching on both sides. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Put out a whole bunch of videos, like I said, so make sure you check in on those. Give us a follow if you haven't already. It really means a lot. And thank you guys for joining us again for another live edition of The Upside. See you guys tomorrow.